So, I made a mistake today of scheduling my dental appointment 2 hours prior to this meeting, and my left side of my face is still numb. So if I talk funny, that's why. Maybe I do talk funny and provide some entertainment value to my speech. Also, you might be wondering why I have the soccer in my hands. I will explain shortly, but right now at least I got your attention, right? So, as Marnie said, the title of my speech is about inertia, law of inertia, and how it applies to our life. It's a very interesting topic in my mind. I've meditated on it for a long time. So I'm really excited to share with you guys today. So, first of all, I want to ask you guys a question. Have you guys noticed sometimes it's really hard to do something, to start doing something different than what you're doing already? To stop what you're doing and start on something new. One example I can give is on your way to work or to school, the route you usually take. I know one time, because of construction, I had to take a different route, but it took me a whole week to remember. I had to run into the dead end or the construction site and turn around for 7 or 8 days in a row before I could remember. I just could not remember it because I've been set in that way for so long, you know. And also the other day I was sitting at home and I was just sitting on my couch or somewhere. I was really comfortable, but I had this whole long list of things I wanted to get done. But I just remember, it's like, I did not want to do that. I just want to sit there and stay comfortable, you know. And I realized something. There's something at work here in my life. It is there's this effect of inertia. It's like if I'm doing something, I want to keep doing that. I don't want to change. It's hard to change. So the law of inertia, it's a physical law that we have all experienced. It states that an object at rest or object will tend to remain at rest or remain in motion unless it is acted upon by another force. We all understand that. It's very, very straightforward, right? It also says that the inertia comes from mass, and more mass means more inertia. So, but what does that mean in life? So I wanted to use this soccer ball to help demonstrate. Nothing magic, just playing soccer ball. So, soccer ball, if I don't do anything, it sits there. It just sits there, it doesn't do anything. But if something touches it, if wind blows on it, it moves a little bit. But again, it just doesn't move too much. It comes back and it still sits there. If it's sitting on the highway, gets run over by a truck, then it can get destroyed, right? But imagine I'm Cristiano Ronaldo for a second, okay? I'm one of the best soccer players in the world. I'm in World Cup competition. I'm competing. I'm kicking the ball around. Or I'm passing it to my teammates. Eventually, it's going to get to a goal and it's going to score, right? So you think about that. Our life is sometimes kind of like that. It sits there. Our life, we don't do anything. It just kind of sits there. Life circumstances change, and we make some adjustments to match that. But for the most part, we don't want to make big changes, right? Also, if there is something major happens in our life, like losing your job or some major health issues, it can feel like you got run over by a truck because you feel like you didn't do anything wrong. You just got run over by a truck. It's kind of like this, you know, this soccer ball got run over by a truck. But maybe it's because you have your life has become stagnant, or you're staying put. You're not doing much, and you're not moving. Maybe. So, what if you have positioned yourself to move your life in a certain direction, in a good direction, and you give yourself regular kicks, calculated kicks, to make sure you're moving in a certain direction? Maybe if you do that, the trajectory of your life is going to head to a good place, and kind of like a soccer ball, maybe you will get into a goal, you know. So that is the law of inertia in life, demonstrated by a soccer ball. And I think it's that law of inertia is at play in our life, in all areas of our life. And I want to use some of my own examples. So physical fitness is one of my favorite topics. You guys already know that, right? So sitting somewhere for a long time makes you want to sit there longer. So we work in offices. You know, we all know sometimes it's a challenge to want to get up from our desk and do something else. Watching movie on my phone, sometimes I almost feel like there's a magnet between my phone screen and my head, and I can't pry it away from it. It's just, I wasted countless hours, you know, being stuck on my smartphone, and I've had to work really hard to break away from that addiction. You know, so there are things in our lives, in the area of physical fitness that we know it's not good for us. And since the introduction of online video streaming and smartphones, I've had to go see the chiropractor more often, just because I've had developed bad habits, sitting somewhere, not moving much. You know, another area I want to talk about is the area of my career development. I also noticed that because I've been in the industry for a long time, and we have developed the software a certain way, implemented software a certain way, and it's proven to work. So the next project comes around, it's a tendency is to use the same way to work on that same software. But because of technological advances, that's not always the best choice. But the temptation is always there because there's always constraints, time constraints, money constraints, resources. They always want to get it done soon. So the tendency is always there to just keep doing the same thing. But it might be okay for a while, and sometimes it might be a good thing to just do it the same way, but not all the time. And if I keep doing that for a long time, then guess what? My skill set is going to become outdated, and pretty soon my quality of work is going to become more inferior, and sometime I may get laid off or lose my job. You know. So another thing I found for myself is mindset. Is the law of inertia also applies to your mindset. Is for me as a technical person, you know, I can't help but be analytical and technical. So having lived in that world for a long time, I put a lot of limitations on myself. A lot of times I feel like I can't be a people person, or I feel like I can't understand the business side of things, or I just have these, you know, preconceived notion of who I should be and how I should behave, and I realized that's a lie. That's you know, my way of thinking has made me continue to think that way, and has put a lot of limitation on myself. So, and I really believe that I'm not defined by my job title, and if I break away from that mold, I feel like there's going to be a lot more opportunities open for me. So another thing I want to talk about that applies to our life is communications, and because we're in the Toastmasters Club, communications is so important, as we all know. But yet, the way we have communicated in the past makes us want to communicate the same way, and that's always there, right? And that's why we're here. Is we want to improve. We want to break free from the old patterns. You know, ask yourself: are you learning new vocabulary? Are you expanding your new vocabulary? Are you using more facial expressions? That's a struggle for me, especially growing up from a Chinese background. Body language, you know, are we using more body language? Are we being more animated with our? I'm constantly amazed by some of my American friends that are just so animated, has so much charisma when they communicate. So I want to learn about all that, and I want to break away from old patterns of communication. So next thing I want to talk about is something I want to point out is communication is a neutral thing. It's not communication. Law of inertia is a neutral thing. It's not good or bad. If the effects in your life are good, then it actually becomes the law of momentum. The law of momentum is good for you. You want that because it generates a lot of excitement. It makes you want to go in a good direction faster and further, right? But if its effects are bad, then that's You don't want that. You don't want to be settled in the same way of doing things. So I want to just offer some ideas on how to overcome it and how you can convert that energy to momentum for you. So first thing I think I want to point out is we need to be smart about recognizing it. I think one good way to recognize it is recognizing if you're becoming comfortable, if you're becoming too comfortable, you're in the comfort zone for too long, you're coasting in life. I think that's always a good indication. The second idea I want to offer is disrupt your own life. And that sounds harsh, and you might be asking me, why? Why do I want to disrupt my own life? So remember that the law of inertia has a lot to do with mass. The more mass, the more inertia. So what that means in life is that the longer you're settled in doing certain things a certain way, the harder it is for you to change. If you're willing to disrupt your own life, change more frequently, change sooner, then it will be easier for you to change later on as well. So how do you disrupt your own life? There are certain things you can do. I'll give you some examples. One is, for example, I talk about sitting. Years ago, I decided one good way to disrupt my sitting pattern is to get a standing desk, because that forces you to stand, every once in a while. Exercise is, I try to introduce different exercise routines in my life to change it up. Reading books. Reading books is a good way to disrupt your thinking. Reading books by different people, articles, blogs, that's a great way to meet different people. Join clubs like this, meet people who have different backgrounds, expand your circle of influence. So, attitude is key. Attitude is so important. We need to stay humble. We need to keep stretching ourselves and keep learning. And then, if you really don't know what to do, just do something. Sometimes I really don't know what's going on, or I don't know what I don't know. I just do something, and that always seems to help. So to conclude, guys, the takeaway is inertia can work against you, and it's a very, very subtle thing, and it can be a very dangerous thing. I think we need to be wise about it, be on the alert. But don't coast, don't stay comfortable in life. If you want to grow, move, and convert all of your energy to momentum to work for you instead of against you. Thank you.